Hello. All right. We have Razz and Phenix. Dreamer and Bonkelder versus Biz and Meganium. Meganium not getting a nickname. That's pretty poor from Razz, I gotta say. Um, I don't know if I can really call this a good position without a nickname on Meganium. But we'll see. Interesting lead to go with the Machado and the Conkelder up front. Especially given that this is a Mega Meganium, so we'll be looking to do some big damage with the Platinum Green. And a taunt also from the Gyarados. Let's see if it's got the Mental Herb. You really would want a Mental Herb if you're playing Moving Trick Room up. No. Okay. Rosalie Conkeldurr takes that real well. Oh, I assume this has got to be a 9-foot coming in. Or a Poison Jab. That's nice. Getting taking that real well, however. The Intimidate from the Gyarados coming in clutch. And no Trick Room comes up from Phenix. This is a great 10-1 from Razz overall. Took the damage on the Meganium, but prevented the Trick Room and burned through that Rosalie Berry. So we'll have to see how Phoenix can adjust from this. See if he's got the Rain Mode in the back, potentially. But even with that, the Mega Soul from Meganium will be able to let it hit those hard weather balls that it's going to attack on Conkeldurr now. Blocking the Waterfall. And Gleam again. Conkeldurr will make it through this turn, but it remains to be seen what the Mashana will be doing. A Thunderbolt here would be really nice. No, a Moonblast. Coming in, the Dreamer Pokemon hitting the Fairy type that doesn't land Moonblast with a Moonblast. And I gotta say, the Rosa position still looks pretty strong. There's not really much that Phoenix has that can stop it from doing exactly that again. Forges would be a nice Pokemon to bring in with that insane special defense potentially. But I feel like we're just about to see a double knockout incoming. There it is. Razz's plan working to perfection. The crit on the Mishana not really mattering. Bonkelder goes down, and Dreamer goes down, and Razz is looking really comfortable in this game one. Scuttle the Pelipper. Lune the Swampert. Okay. If you're gonna have Pokemon in the back, this is who you're gonna have, but Razz with the Tyranitar and the Excadrill could be looking to make a quick swip up of the Gyarados, get the other Intimidate down, get the Sand up, let Meganium hit hard with one of those Mega Soul Cannons, potentially into the Swampert. Phoenix's options are potentially limited here, depends on how fast the Pelipper is itself, if it's able to land a Hurricane, which you would assume would be raw because Tyranitar, from what I can see in this matchup, looking overall pretty good, especially if it was Chopper or Sash, and seems fairly likely to be switching in for the Gyarados. Gyarados goes out. What a connect. Tyranitar, shiny, looking sweet. Sand, looking good. Puts it up. There we see the Mega from Swampert as expected. And if this isn't Scarf Rain Dance from the Pelipper, I think this game one could be looking pretty good to protect from the Swampert. Blocking that Solar Beam. And you would have to assume that this is Tailwind coming from the Pelipper. It is indeed a Tailwind. And now the position is looking a lot less bad. Meganium won't live another Sand turn, and Swampert likely to go first and being the fastest here. Gyarados surely comes in for an Intimidate and to block an Earthquake. And we'll have to see what Pokemon number 4 is from Razz as well. Oh, just leaving Tyranitar open for that Wave Crush, takes it without quite dying. There's still a lot of damage. And we'll have to see, and it's a Muddy Water. Does anything dodge? Meganium dodges. That's huge. T-Tar goes down, but that means the Meganium will have another chance to launch an attack, which is surely a Solar Beam into that Swampert and bring the Pokemon count from 3. Meganium absorbs light. And the Mega Soul Cannon, probably enough to kill 2 Swamperts right there. Swampert goes down, and now Meganium will also go down from Sand. So that leaves the final Pokemon count game like 2 versus 1. Going into potentially our last turn, we know that one of those Pokemon is Gyarados, and that will take the attack from this Pelipper really nicely, resisting Muddy Water, of course. Hurricane, if it hits in the sand, only 70% accurate, but won't do too much damage, and it's also Clefable. So this one really should be locked for Razz. We'll have to see. It really does help when you have another commentary partner to jump in, so you don't just have to say anything, but oh, I could have got a Discord call with Burst. That would have been funny. Oh well, never mind. It's fine. Anyway, we'll have to see what Rose wants to do. He can surely win this, but we'll see if he can force Phenix to reveal any more moves. If I was Phenix, I would just click Muddy Water. Until the end of time, not revealing anything for games 2 or 3. For Fable, you'd expect it to have Moonblast and Follow Me, but it could also potentially. Not too much damage. It actually does drop on Gyarados. Does that matter? It does for this turn, dodging the Waterfall, and it's a Gleam for Clefable. Gleam potentially with a Moonblast. You'd expect the Clefable to only have one of the 2 attacks in that Gleam. Doing a little chunk. Last turn of Tailwind for the Pelipper. It's going to need another couple of Muddy Water accuracy drops, you would think, in order to be able to bring this back. That's good damage on the Clefable, actually. If there's an accuracy drop on the Clefable, oh, it is Citrus. Okay, so we will live 2 more of those quite easily. Dodges another Waterfall, but with no accuracy drop on the Clefable. Another Gleam comes through, leaving it just at 5% in range of Sand, and Razz takes game 1. Really well played overall by Razz, I would say. Called the lead pretty much perfectly with the Gyarados Meganium. Up front, Taunt getting the Mashana, which interestingly wasn't Mental Herb. I wonder if that indicates that it's actually Colbur Berry to live a Teton knockoff. But what that means is that the Trick Room mode almost definitely going to be tricky to pull off in game 2. I don't see too much from Phenix's side, which would dissuade the same lead. So we'll have to see what Phoenix can do to switch up there. I think we've noticed obviously the King Gambit did not come in that game. The rain mode was in the back. I wonder if maybe Phoenix tries to get the rain mode up front, do as much damage with Swampert as possible, but then again, you really disappointing that. From what I've seen so far, Razz is prepped well, and the team matchup, when you look at these 2 pairs of 6s side by side, it really looks as though Razz should have the upper hand here, and so that told in game 1. The Meganium Gyarados lead just looks so good into pretty much everything that Phoenix can put out there. I do wonder if the Swampert is going Ice Punch, and Ice Punch Hurricane 1-2 into the Meganium before it moves. Could be one way to keep Swampert alive and able to wreak more havoc through the game. But that Gyarados again, that was such a tricky Pokemon. Without Thunder Punch, potentially, on the Conkeldurr, I'm not really sure how Phoenix can get through it quite easily. Maybe a King Gambit lead up front, get that Defiant boost, get that attack that it needs to break through. Could be the answer. I'm going to assume Burst is saying fairly similar things. Conkeldurr and the Scarlet Witch, which just does come using that. Ooh. Emotep and Salsa. This is a really cool adjustment from Razz. Clearly coming in with multiple game plans. The Gyarados Meganium lead, as I said, felt like it could have covered most things, but this switch up is really interesting. The Iron Head potentially going straight into the Florges without much trouble. But it could be blocked by Protect. Also, Scarlet Witch using Yellow Flower Florges. Don't know about that one. Stealth Rock, okay. That is a cool technique. To harm a Pelipper, switching in and out potentially. Great Punch goes in, is this Sash? It's not Sash, okay. Trading all of Extra Drill for the Stealth Box is a choice. I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that one. Shadow Ball coming up with a Conch Elder, this will do about 30%. Exactly. Calc is right, Diddy. Which is good damage. I feel like Meganium potentially wants to be coming in, although it does have the Rosary Blade to block the Gloom. So yeah, we see the Gyarados comes up here. You do have to wonder what moveset this Forges is carrying. And the Gyarados was pretty tough to break through in game 1. Just not learning any electrics. That did a lot of damage. And a flinch. That's rough for Phenix. The Thunder Punch is Wakan Berry on the Gyarados. A good call. And allows it to live through this turn. And just a second Shadow Ball from Coach Regis into Bonkill there. That was a really rough turn from Phenix. I'm not sure if that was a crit, but I felt like it could on the waterfall, because doing 80% is pretty crazy. A waterfall this time going into Conch Elder, it lives. The Pollen Puff, bring it back all the way up to 50%. And another flinch. That's rough. That is very, very rough. Conch Elder doing what it could have done initially, but that flinch might just seal this game and the set. That is rough on Phoenix's end. Gyarados doing Gyarados things. Really blocking any progress Phoenix could have made. Had Phoenix been able to move and Thunder Punch the Gyarados out of the game, then I really think that it was within his hands. It remains to be seen exactly what he can do. He could protect either slot. No protect this time, just going to take the waterfall. And a Moonblast goes into just to do some pretty decent damage. 43%, but the Shadow Ball back. This is your potential 15, 18. Powerpuff. Okay, Powerpuff comes back in, takes the Stealth Burst, breaking any potential Sash, although it would be suicide to bring a Sash back into the Tyranitar matchup. And this is a really interesting position because Cofagrigus is threatening the Trick Room on any potential Tailwind from Pelipper. Gyarados feels like it should be the fastest thing going. And just a Taunt to block any potential Tailwind. We did see Taunt in game 1, so let's see if Phoenix called it. He did not. He called the Rain Dance. Oh, was the Rain Dance was on the Florges' side. Really interesting. Muddy Water doing very decent damage. Another accuracy drop. That could be what Phoenix needs to get into this game. If he can dodge a Waterfall. Dodge Waterfall and Florges, and I think that Phoenix is right back in this if he's able to double connect that Muddy Water. With Gyarados being the fastest thing on the field, I think that might be what it takes. Protect from Cofagrigus, so it reveals Protect. So far we've seen Shadow Ball and Protect from this thing. You'd expect it to carry. Oh, there is the dodge. Moonblast goes into the Protect of the Cofagrigus, and this is going to be another. Oh, it's a Hurricane. Yep. Don't want to risk that 85% actually Muddy Water. Hurricane taking care of Gyarados. And now we see the leftovers activate. And Phoenix has done a really good job coming back from those really unlucky flinches to be able to break through. And that waterfall dodge, most importantly, keeping Florges alive and making it able to click Rain Dance on this turn. A Rain Dance Muddy Water, and you think that provided it hits, we will be going into a game 3. The players just taking a little bit of time to think about how they want to approach this and maybe what they want to do in game 3. I think that this turn 1 was a lot worse for Razz than the game 1, turn 1, trading all of Excadrill for the Stealth Rocks. It's so far done only 25% damage. T-Dart does Mega Evolve. You'd expect that Phenix would have trained the Florges to fully outspeed even Mega Tyranitar, and that is the case. The Rain Dance comes through. And Razz doesn't risk a Rock Slide miss. The knockoff going into the Florges, knocking it out, and we'll see Muddy Water. It does double connect, and this should surely take the KO on Copagregis and leaves T-Tar reeling at 34%. With one more Pokemon coming in from the back, you'd expect it to surely be Swampert. Oh, Kingambit. Interesting. Now, Tyranitar often carries a low kick in regular VGC, and with a Kingambit on Phoenix's squad, you expect it to click it here as well. So I'm thinking that Razz's out is that low kick into the Kingambit. It is. And dodging Muddy Water. If he dodges in the Muddy Water, then actually we might not go into a game 3 at all. Doesn't get the dodge. Phoenix probably on balance deserves to hit that one, given the waterfall flinches early in the game. And that was really impressively good covered from Phoenix. I felt like, given the waterfall flinches, it seemed like he was in a really tough position. But I think one of the issues with the Gyarados was, while it was hard to break through itself, it didn't do enough breaking through of the opposition. The flinches were super nice and needed. Had it not been flinches coming through, then I feel like Phoenix would have got that game more easily than eventually transpired. So from my perspective as the outside observer, I feel like the initial game 1 lead covered more options, and if Phoenix doesn't have anything to cover that, then there could be some trouble. The Whack-A Berry, a good technique because you know that there's going to be a random electric move, and that Thunder Punch, as did transpire from the Conkeldurr, could have put him in some real trouble. From Phoenix's end, Kingambit as the last maybe wasn't the Pokemon that you really would have wanted in that situation, and with no Chople Berry, really enhanced with a low kick. I do wonder if it was a Sash, given that it's a Steel type and therefore wouldn't have its Sash broken by the stand. And we go for Excadrill Meganium. I think I do like this lead overall. Phoenix calling the Gyarados lead to come back in. And trying to get that Defiant boost with Kingambit. This time nowhere to be found. And on both sides, Pokemon that normally want to be clicking some instant offense. If I was Razz, I'd be clicking a Gleam High Horsepower into Kingambit. But that does leave the Excadrill open to any attack from Conkeldurr. We didn't see Mach Punch, we've seen Drain Punch, Thunder Punch. So maybe that there isn't a way to go before this Excadrill, but with it not being Sash, that really does leave an opportunity open. It just goes to the Protect, doesn't want to lose ground on the Excadrill on this turn. I assume it's a Gleam, it is just a Gleam. Breaking potential Sash on Kingambit, burning through the Rosalie Berry on the Conkeldurr. And a low kick into the Excadrill. I assume this is going to be a Poison Jab. This time, no Intimidate. Meganium goes down. Not that it was a surprise that low kick was coming out there, but Excadrill is very light Pokemon. I'm not sure that the low kick actually even does that. Kowtow does more damage in a low kick to an Excadrill. But what that does mean is that the T-Tar itself is also at risk. High Horsepower. Oh, Conkeldurr living on exactly 1 HP. It's Life Orb. That is a huge survival from the Conkeldurr, and we see the low kick into the Kingambit. But that does mean that Conkeldurr gets to fight back with a Drain Punch, taking out that extra drill, recovering some health. That is huge for Phenix's side. The 1% survival, 1% and a dream, taking out extra drill, and now Phenix is in a really good position. Still no Mach Punch shown, which means that the Tyranitar potentially not really in that much trouble. Pelipper again coming out. Meganium Megaring on turn 1, meaning that there's no Mega option from Tyranitar. The rain will be the weather that we see to the end of this game. Having said that, there is still the Gyarados to get through. Gyarados at 100%, T-Tar at 100%, and we know they're both faster than both Pokemon on the opposing side. I do wonder if we see maybe something like a Taunt going into the Pelipper to stop a Tailwind option. T-Tar protects against any kind of thunder, any kind of punching attack, Waterfall going into the Protect, and do we see the Tailwind? We see a Hurricane into the Gyarados. 50%, that's really good damage from this Pelipper into that Gyarados, and now we are once again in a standoff. 4 turns of frame left, unless this is done. Waterfall going into Conkeldurr, that will take it out. Rain boosted, Waterfall brings the Pokemon count level, and we see another Hurricane though, so Gyarados may not be long for this world, and it is out! Down and out for the count goes Liz. Pelipper taking another name. Drop into the knockoff, and we'll see that the item was Charty. Okay, so that means that if the Rock Slide comes in, then Pelipper will go out, but now we see it's Swampert. Swampert will time its Mega, it'll click Earthquake. This game is in the books. The Mega, the foregone conclusion coming out. And unless it can somehow live the Earthquake, dodge the Muddy Water, click Grass Knot. Does it get Grass Knot? I assume so, it's T-Tar. Let's check. Grass. No, it doesn't even get Grass. It doesn't get any Grass moves. Okay, so yeah, this one. Not too much longer. Swampert will likely take the KO, and if it's not this turn, it'll probably be next turn. Go for the double, try to stall out the rain and go for it that way. Noble effort, but the Wave Crash just comes in, and Tyranitar goes out. Impressive comeback from Phenix after game 1 with how well Razz was able to prep and how dominant that initial game was. I really thought that he would have the upper hand all the way through, but Phenix having a much stronger game 2, the comeback going through, and then in game 3 the plan told, getting through the Pokemon that he needed to get through, getting the KOs that he needed to get, getting the weather he needed to get, and getting the position he needed to get. Well played, Phenix, overall, and GG's to both.